Here at Drive we get to drive some pretty cool cars, but I reckon this one is one of the coolest. Now it looks sort of like a Fiat 500, but it's had a few tweaks for the track. It started life as a Fiat 500, or more correctly an Bathurst 695, which is the sportier version of the distinctive Italian hatchback. But this one is an Assetto Corse, which is a factory-prepared race version with lightweight plastic windows, bigger brakes, more power from its 1.4 litre turbo engine, and a slick 6-speed racing sequential gearbox. Oh, and you've got to sit on the left-hand side as well. Now that won't be a problem because we'll only be driving it on the racetrack. And not just any racetrack, but Australia's most famous, the Mount Panorama track at Bathurst, for a 12-hour race that will be contested by some of the world's fastest cars. Now there'll be a lot more Italian exotica on the track at Bathurst, but at least the Bath will stand out. Over the last few months I've been busy getting my racing licence and taking to the track to test the tiny Fiats. From arriving off the ship, the cars have been surprisingly quick, with the gearbox one of the best bits. It works brilliantly with that 4-cylinder engine. Things don't always go according to plan though. There have been a few times when you're reminded that the basics of this car are more about finding an easy parking spot and zipping around town than cutting hot laps. And early on in the car's development, it had a tendency to go up on 2 wheels, in both directions. So a challenging day. The best bit, the cars are surprisingly quick, which is fantastic. Still plenty to learn about them, although we did actually cover off a fair bit of ground today. But next step, Bathurst, bring it on. As we get nearer to the race, the cars are starting to take shape and look a bit more like race cars. They're also going quicker, although with the smallest engine, we're still likely to be among the slowest cars in a field of almost 50. Look, I think the most daunting thing at Bathurst will be all the supercars buzzing around us. I mean, obviously the 500 looks a little bit different to everything else out there, which is great. But you know, we need to be aware of what's going to be coming up in our mirrors. For that, we've got some interesting technology. We'll be using a Bosch rear collision alert system that's still under development. Using a radar and camera in the rear of the car and a colour screen up front, it can warn of approaching cars and even tell you what direction they're going to pass you. Now I'm here with team principal Alan Heafy. He's the man in charge of our Bathurst bus. Alan, you looking forward to the challenge?
Absolutely. I mean, our whole team is, and it's a real challenge to try and get one of these things around Bathurst in 12 hours, so looking forward to it like you wouldn't believe.
You've been involved in some pretty interesting racing exotica over the years. How do these compare?
Different. And like I said, a challenge. But look, I mean, mechanically and technically they're a good little thing. And like I said, the challenge is going to be to get them around probably one of the most difficult race circuits in the world for 12 hours. And that's, and I think they've got the content and the ability to do that. There's trying to bring a number of drivers up to speed to be able to sort of take on the same challenge. And I think that is a bigger challenge than really what the car is, but we'll see how we go.
Now, the big question, can we win the class?
I'm very confident we can, and I think it's just a matter of us being able to keep the car circulating around for a minimum of 75% of the race distance, which then classifies as a finish, which is 9 hours, and we'll do our very best to do that, no matter what, and I think we can win the class, yes.
Apart from yours truly, the cars will be driven by seasoned race drivers Paul Stokel and Luke Youlden, as well as some journalist colleagues. It'll be an interesting mix. The race takes place over the weekend of February 8 and 9, so keep an eye on drive.com.au to see how we go.